Alrighty, welcome back everybody to this week's edition of KFFL Weekly Wrap-Up. We have just completed week 4 of our Fantasy Football League. I want to throw a couple quick notes to start off this weekly wrap-up since 4 weeks have been completed. A couple quick notes that I found on NFL. Probably the two most surprising things that we've seen is Houston has been a pretty effective team with some effective players. CJ Stroud has been surprisingly good to start the season. Nico Collins has been pretty effective for a lot of people. Arizona has not fallen far behind with Josh Dobbs, James Conner doing pretty good. Even Hollywood Brown has been getting some decent points. Probably the craziest thing that we've seen in the first 4 weeks is that Dolphins 70-point game against the Denver Broncos. A lot of players got good points on that one. I mean, Tua got his, Tyreek got his, Agent got his, Mustard got his. I mean, who didn't, right? Let's see. Tua has been surprisingly good. He hasn't gotten hurt, so that's a plus side. Some people got him deep into the draft, so they definitely banked on him deep in there. Next thing, Dallas defense has been a pretty good defense to have. Probably one of the top defenses in the league. Definitely makes them a contender this year for hopefully a Super Bowl run. We'll see how that one goes. Craziest moments: Aaron Rodgers being out for the remainder of the season after only 4 snaps. That was pretty crazy to see. And Puka Nacua, I don't know if Sione expected him to be this good, but very interesting start to his rookie campaign. Already breaking records. Got his first touchdown this past week. So I know Sione has been banking on that on those points. The last couple weeks. But a couple just notes to throw out there. Draft grades. Yahoo draft grades have been pretty on point, except for those that got B grades. Quick little fact is we got 3 people who are graded a B, and those teams currently stand in 8th place or worse. So I guess for future reference, either get an A, a C, a D, maybe even F. But enough of that. Let's get this thing going. Alrighty, so the first matchup we're going to be reviewing is Sione versus CD's Nalgas. Not a lot can be said about this one, apart from CD's having 2 higher point receivers on the bench with Godwin and Thielen. He pretty much went up and never looked back. Fortunately for Sione, he had a bad week with Deebo Samuel only putting up 0.60 points. He didn't have a great performance from the rest of his team. His running backs, both 2 points on the points. Nicole continues to kill, which is actually the plus side in Sione's team, but he's going to have to do some work to see how he's going to come back in this league. Jonathan Taylor's going to be coming back soon, so Sione couldn't ask for a better time. I know his running backs could use a little bit of help. Obviously, not enough has been set in the media right now in regards to if he's playing this week, but if he is able to practice, play, he's going to be a great addition for his team. Other than that, Sione moves to 1-3, which puts him in 11th place in our league. CD breaks even at 2-2. Interesting to see what's going to be happening in the future, but good win by CDs. Sione, good luck. I know we praise Puka a lot. Deebo should be getting his back, and crazy to see Patrick Mahomes throw 2 interceptions in a game, but definitely another performance on his part. Good luck moving forward, fellas. We'll be moving on to the next reviewed matchup. So the next matchup we'll be looking at is Ryan's impressive team against Salty Sar. Salty Sar had a pretty tough week. I'm pretty sure he expected Tua to go off against that Buffalo's defense. We know they're good, but we expected both teams to have a great offensive performance. Unfortunately, they weren't able to repeat what they did against the Broncos. Tua finished with just under 14 points. The rest of the team was under double-digit points, with the exception of Kenneth Walker, who had a decent showing on Monday Night Football. Of course, Ryan's impressive team, they showed up. I know last week I mentioned how the Robinson Bros didn't perform to their par. This week they put up points. I hope my mentioning of last week didn't you second guess your team and put them on the bench. Nico Collins with 35 points on the bench, Brian Robinson 13 points on the bench, and Marquise Brown with 16.60 points on the bench. Either way, your lineup was still enough to take out Salty. Moves up Brian to 3-1, and Salty breaks even at 2-2. The way the league is going, there's still a lot of potential to make the playoffs. Just make sure that you're setting up the best lineup possible. I know Eckler being out right now has been hurting hurting a lot of teams. So as a Chargers fan, I know Salty wants to see Eckler back in the lineup. Definitely do a lot better than having Jameson Williams, who I think is, Javonte Williams, who got hurt this week. So it'll be a player that you can sub in and hopefully do some damage for your team. Good luck, gentlemen. The next matchup we're going to be looking at. All right, so the next matchup we'll be looking at is Nasty Bashy versus Angry Birds. That's another matchup that was decided a little bit early. Bashy started with a pretty good lead with Stephon Diggs going on for 3 touchdowns, Williams going on for 2 touchdowns. That's almost everything that they really put up. Amari Cooper didn't show up. Kyle Pitts has been struggling this year, and Aaron Jones, well, he didn't get much of many touches, on Thursday Night Football by that spanking the Lions put on the Packers. I know. I think he had a 93 to 54 lead, but with 4 players that Angry Birds had in the afternoon, it made all the difference. Herbert performed against the Raiders. Ayuk went off against Arizona. Hunter Henry and Stevenson put up a few points to help, move that lead up a little bit higher, but pretty much by that point it was over for Bashy. This matchup showed that missed field goals do hurt, so kicker value is important. If you guys haven't checked out those settings, go ahead and check those out. Field goals missed do lose points. We want to make sure that everybody that's messing up on the game has to pay the cost. So kickers will be losing points. It has a big factor. We'll come back and talk about that a little bit more later. But Nasty Bashy moves to 1-3, and Angry Birds moves back up in the top 4 to 3-1. So good luck, gentlemen, moving forward. Hopefully Nasty Bashy can do the changes necessary to pick his team back up. I know Cooper Kupp should be coming back soon. Hopefully, news is he's practicing this week. Same thing as Jonathan Taylor. So once we hear more of it, hopefully we'll be able to tell whether we punch him into that lineup or not. So moving forward, we'll see the Too Close for Comfort matchup of this week between House of Troy and Niners Gang. A 139.54 to 129.74 win for House of Troy. Hey, thank you for PPR, right? Camaro, great example, having coming back, had 13 receptions, 33 yards. That's basically came up with 16 points out of the 21 that he scored this week. Mark Andrews, Justin Jefferson both had a couple touchdown performances, which definitely helped. Keenan Allen didn't give the usual performance, but still was able to get that touchdown in there. Kickers, of course, I told you guys are very important. Bass definitely went in there and made some difference. Josh Jacobs, welcome back to fantasy football. It was nice to see those running backs come and put up some points. Derrick Henry put up over 24 points. Josh Jacobs put up over 24 points. Even on the bench, even though you didn't play him, Najee Harris, it was nice to see him come back and do some work. Other than that, the rest of the team fell a little bit short. Either way, going into Monday Night Football, House of Troy had that 50-point advantage, but it was crazy to see how Seattle was coming back on not coming back, but helping them make a comeback against the Giants this week. I think they put up 11 sacks, one short of the of tying the record for most sacks in a game. Either way, it would have been crazy to talk about that comeback on Monday Night Football. If only he had punching DJ Moore in the lineup, we probably would have been talking about a different story, and House of Troy wouldn't end up with a 4-0 record, and Niners gang wouldn't end up with that 0-4 record. Either way, there's a lot of potential with that team moving forward. I think Niners gang has the potential of racking up some points and getting that first win of the season. So moving on to the next one. So next up is Smashin' versus Stank. Let's Win Again, our first name change of the year. So there was a lopsided win right here, 145-76 to 104. Let's Win Again continues to win again. Surprisingly, he's able to put up a good performance. Most of Smashin's teams hit their projections this week, but things got out of reach once the afternoon game started. Christian McCaffrey started with that early touchdown, followed by 3 more touchdowns, put him up to 48 points, very close to the same performance A-Chain had last week against the Broncos. But either way, Let's win again, excuse me. Narrowly missed the high score this week by 8 points. It's hard to decide which quarterback to put up when you have two great quarterbacks. Had Josh Allen been started over Jalen Hurts, we probably would have had a different story. Also, we said we're going to come back to kickers missing field goals. Myers this week could have had a 7-point turnaround. He had a 53-yard field goal that missed wide left. That made him lose 2 points. That could have been a 7-point turn right there. Would have helped them be a little more challenging had Darren Waller not had the last couple receptions at the end of the game to help push that win over to a different player, which we'll mention coming up next. Either way, we'll probably be seeing Saquon next week, and I'm sure Josh will be looking forward to putting him in his lineup. Other than that, Khalil Herbert went off this week. Stroud is on the bench right there. Would have made a little bit of a difference. Not enough to make a difference in a win, but definitely some points that could be beneficial at the end of the year. Either way, good luck, gentlemen. We'll be looking at our last matchup. So the last matchup we'll be looking at this week is Stop Playing versus Jimmy Jesus and Friends. Took 4 days for Stop Playing to stop kicking himself over that Montgomery bench that he had this week. But either way, doesn't seem like he ended up needing it after all. A-Chain got some good points this week, even though Buffalo, went off on that game. Pretty much bench Mustard and A-Chain for the rest of the game. Let those guys rest since the game was out of reach. A.J. Brown finally performed how everyone was expecting him to perform at the beginning of the season. And even though Richardson started off a little bit slow, he's able to finish with 29 points and that overtime loss against the Rams. Jimmy Jesus, I don't know if Kelsey's feeling the Swift curse or what it is. Seems more like Joe Burrow's feeling that. This week is the second under 5-point performance that Joe Burrow has put up this season. Dallas defense still showed up and put up 29 points. They're still doing their thing, so that's good to see. But Jimmy Jesus falls to Stop Playing 152 to 112. Again, going back to that kick that I was telling you about, Jason Myers could have definitely made things more interesting with that 53-yarder that he missed. Had he made that one, Darren Waller not get that last series, we could have had the high score of the week be let's win again. But again, importance of starting the right lineup, guys. Make sure that you guys pay attention to the lineups, pay attention to the matchups, pay attention to the rules. The scoring should make all the difference in the league. Either way, Stop Playing moves up to 2-2 to break even. Jimmy Jesus moves up to 1-3. Those are the matchups that we had this week. One thing to look forward to this week is, there are some bye weeks starting up this week. So check up your lineups. Make sure your player and your lineups are where they need to be. There's a few injuries to look after. Waiver wire is very important now that we have those bye weeks coming up. So this week is going to be interesting. Another interesting point for this week, we do have a couple matchups between our ranked 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 5 and 6 teams. So there is going to be some change in the standings after this week. Either way, thank you for joining me again for this week's edition of the KFFL Weekly Wrap-Up. Good luck with the rest of the season. Week 5 starts tomorrow. Until next week. Laters.